Anyway, hi there. My name's Mitchell. I am hopefully starting a booktube channel. So, yay! We made it to the channel. Congrats. Um, Today is just gonna be kind of chill. I'm just gonna do a reading vlog. It is almost exactly 7 o'clock. I need to do like some homework stuff, but also I want to read the book I'm currently reading. Anyway, let me show you what it is. This is Wine and War. It is a nonfiction book about France and French wine during World War II. It's really interesting. I'm super into French history, so it's all about like how people had to like hide their wines during World War II, and like the story of like what it did to farming during that time, like farming the grapes and harvesting the grapes, and it talks about like even before World War II, like what French winemaking was like, and it's just really interesting. I am a little over halfway through the book right now. I'm on page 178, and I think there's a little over 200 pages. So I'm pretty close to the end of this. But nonfiction usually takes me longer to read than fiction does. I'm really not sure why. Does anyone else have that problem? Because, like, I had a book I've started reading earlier, but I DNF'd it because I didn't like it. But I read that book I read like 170 pages of that book in less than a day, like just like in one sitting. And this book is barely that long, like it's longer than that, but not by a lot. And I've been reading this one for like a week, so like, what? I don't know. Maybe that's a me thing, but that's a problem I have. Anyway, so I am trying to read more this year because, like in the past, most of my reading was done for class, like my English class in high school, but I don't have that anymore. So, unless I'm counting like textbooks, I'm really not going to be reading much. So I wanted to like push myself to actually read on my own and like actually read books that I have. I don't honestly have a ton of books, but I do have a fair amount that I haven't read. So I've been trying to get through those. I would really, I don't know if this is gonna happen, but I'd really love to like finish all the books that I have that I haven't read before I go and buy more. I know that like that makes sense. That's what you would think people would do, but we all know we don't do that. I'm trying to actually do that. So we'll see how successful I am in that. I don't even have all the books that I haven't read with me, though. Like, some of mine are at home. So, but I've got enough here to keep me busy for a while. I've got Moby Dick here that I haven't read yet, so we're fine. But anyway, so tonight, the plan, finish at least one more chapter of this, and then get started on homework. Hi, so update. It's 8 o'clock now. I was reading a little slower. I kept getting distracted. But I read one more chapter. I am further to the end than I thought I was because there's a lot after the epilogue. So I just read about... I don't really know if you can spoil this book, but we got to the point where, like, the French towns are being liberated, and it's just satisfying, like, hearing all the struggle throughout the first, like good chunk of the book, Just, knowing how long the war felt, um, and then finally, the liberation, and just hearing, the stories, everyone, excited and stuff. It's just cool. Um, I know it was, a tragedy for a lot of people, it was devastating, the war in general, but I just really love reading about stuff like that. Not necessarily war, but history. I just love reading history books. Anyway, I I think once I get my homework done, I'll be able to focus more on this. I am probably gonna finish this book tonight, even though I don't necessarily have that much free time. But I'm so close to the end. So, yeah, we'll see what time it is by the time I finish homework. I don't think it's gonna take me too long, so hopefully I'll be able to finish this tonight, and then I get to pick the next book, which is always exciting and very difficult. So stay tuned, we'll see if that happens. Hopefully. Hey, so update, it's the next day. I finished the book I was reading, Wine and War. It was really good. I liked it a lot. It did kind of... Hello. Thank you for coming to join us. I liked some of, the middle chapters better than, the end ones and the beginning ones. Some of them were just more interesting. It was pretty good. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. I think, it would have been nice. It didn't have in-text, citations, so, a lot of the times it felt like, where did you get this information? How do you know this level of detail? I'm sure it was just, oral history that was passed down, but, I don't know. I would have liked some, actual in-text citations rather than just, a number and a glossary at the end. And then, aside from that, I think it was pretty good, pretty well written. I liked it. Now I have to pick my next book, which is difficult. Anyway, so I don't have a lot of books here with me that I haven't read. I do have some, obviously, but I'm not sure what to go with. I think I'm going to reorganize my shelf from... Okay, so I just finished organizing. It's not, super great. I don't have very many books here, so, I kind of separated them. It's rough. We'll just say it's rough. So I will take you through a little shelf tour real quick. It won't take very long, but because I only have one shelf, so it'll be quick. Okay, so this is just a quick little bookshelf tour. I'm not gonna pull out every book, but this is my shelf, and this is how I have it arranged. So over here are classics, except for this one. I don't think that's considered a classic, but the rest of these are. And then I have a fake candle, some crystals, and my Bulbasaur, and he just sits on my bookmarks. And then I have, this is just a journal, and then I have these little potion bottles I love so much. They're like Harry Potter, but they're also not, and then these are all fiction, and these are children's, and then the rest of these are non-fiction. And then I have my CDs over there, and yeah, that's just how I have my bookshelf set up now. Okay, so, I just got back from class. I was about to start, David Copperfield. I started reading the first page with an audiobook. I usually like to listen to the book while I'm, physically reading it. And, this isn't David Copperfield. It's, an authoritative modern abridgment. So... that's sad. I thought, yeah, so I don't really want to read, like, not David Copperfield, you know? Um, so I think I'm gonna wait. I don't want to. If I end, I'm gonna read David Copperfield eventually, and when I do, if I just read it, no, I mean, if I read it and I really like it, I might come back to this. But otherwise, I want to read like the actual book and not just this. So I would pick up another book right now, try to start something else, but I've got a lot of reading I need to do for classes. I have to read 3 chapters of this book. I have to read an article which is like 13 pages, but it's like old language, so it's gonna take me a while. And I have to analyze it for one of my philosophy classes. And then the other thing I have to read is 1 chapter of Walden. But yeah, so for right now, I'm not gonna pick up a new book. I'm just gonna start doing like school stuff. And then at the end of the day, I will pick up a new book. Because if I pick one now, I'm just gonna want to read it. So I'm gonna wait to pick it until I have some free time. Hello. Okay. So, it's been a couple days. Whoops. Anyway, so I'm going to refilm the little shelf tour I did because over the weekend my mom came up to my university and dropped off some of the books I asked to bring from home. So my shelf looks better now. I got rid of all of the books that I had read that are on it, I think at least. And now I have a few more books. It's just filled out a little better, and stuff like that. So I'm going to refilm that part. Not that you really would have been able to tell anyway, but, and then, so I'm trying to think where I left off. So I had just finished reading, Wine and More. I don't remember if that was in this video or not. I've tried to record a couple videos. I don't know how I'm editing things yet. So, I was reading this French history book called Wine and More. I finished that. It was really good. I loved, like, some of the middle chapters. It was a good book. The thing I wished about it was that it had more citations, especially in-text citations, because some of the information, I find this to be the case with a lot of nonfiction books, especially nonfiction histories. The way that they tell the story, it seems almost fictional, and I just don't understand where they got that level of detail from. And I just wish they would cite things better. Wine and More is no exception in that. But it did have an index at the end, or a glossary at the end at least. But I did really enjoy it. I think it was really interesting and very well written. And then I'm trying to think what I've read after that. So I'll talk about these real quick. So after Wine and More, I wanted something, like, I didn't want another nonfiction. I wanted something I could kind of fly through. And usually, if I want something to fly through, I will pick up, like, a children's classic, occasionally a YA novel. It really depends. I tend to lean more towards fantasy, or, like, honestly sci-fi more than anything. Like, sci-fi dystopian type YA novels. That's usually what I go for. But, I have a very limited, selection right now. I, like, didn't grow up loving reading, and, it's only, like, recently that I've really gotten into it. So, my shelves are a little bare compared to most people, but that's fine. So I picked up a while ago this book called The Girl Who Drank the Moon. And I'm not gonna lie, I picked it up because I really love the cover art and I like the title. And I did read like the back of the book and stuff. It seemed interesting. I picked this up right after I finished Wine and War, and I got about halfway through, I would say, like 150 pages into it, and I was just not loving it. I just don't really care about the characters. I think it's really well, like, the imagery in it is really nice. It's very, like, pretty almost, but I just don't care about any of the characters. And there's not much of a plot happening, at least at the moment. So I DNF'd that book. And then after that, I was still in the mood to read something light. So I went to our campus library, which doesn't honestly have very many, like, it doesn't, we don't really have very many, like, fiction books in our library, and the ones we do are mainly classics. But I came across this book, The Prince and the Dressmaker. It's a graphic novel, and I read that, and like I think I read it all in one day. It's a really cute story. I absolutely love the illustrations. Whoever did them, amazing job. I'm pretty sure the person that wrote the story also did the illustrations, so that's really cool. I would definitely recommend it. It's a really quick read because it's a graphic novel, but I love the art so much. It's so cute, and the relationships are really sweet. It's just a cool story. It is LGBT, kind of, I guess. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But it's along the lines of that, to some extent, at least. So I read that, and then I got another, like, book like that I haven't started, but it's not due until February, so I'm gonna hold off on that one, because I'm not really in the mood for a light book anymore. So anyway, then for my, like, classes, I said I had to read 3 chapters of this book. So I read those, and then I had to read 4 more chapters, and I did that. I hate this book. I don't like it. I don't recommend it. It's good for people that maybe English is their second language, or maybe for children, like middle school aged kids learning how to write essays. This could be okay for. Personally, I don't like it. I think it's way too simple to be taught in a college classroom. And I also disagree with some of the stuff it has to say. Overall, I don't like this book, and I'm really glad we're done with it. I'm not even going to put it on my Goodreads, because half of it I just skimmed. It was just making me mad. So I don't count this as a read book. I'm just glad to be done with it. So for that same class, now, we are starting the other book. I think we only have the 2 books in that class. So I have to read a chapter in this book. Everything's an Argument. I think it's going to be a lot better than the other one, at least, so I'm not going to complain about it. And then I said I needed to read 1 chapter of Walden. I didn't need to read it, like, immediately, and so I didn't end up doing that. So I still need to read the 2nd chapter of this. And then the other book I'm reading for class right now is In Search of Grace, and so far I'm loving this book. It's a nonfiction, so right up my alley, but it's just super interesting, and I like how the narrator, the author, is approaching this. So it's about religion, and it's basically the author, who isn't religious as far as I'm aware, like, joining religious communities around America and explaining what it's like to be in those communities and the significance of some of the like traditions and stuff. I think it's really interesting, and as a side project and in relation to this class, um, I really want to read this book because I think it'll be very. I think a lot of it will go hand in hand, and I think it could make a really cool essay. I don't know if we're going to have to write an essay where I could fit this in, but if we do, I want to be prepared. So I want to start reading this one, and it's The Paranormal by Eric Goode, I think, Goode, and it's Who Believes, Why They Believe, and Why It Matters. So it's a nonfiction book, again, talking about why people believe in ghosts and like ghost stories and myths that go along with that. So I think this is going to be really cool, and I think these two books are going to go hand in hand together because like religious experience and like supernatural experience are very similar, I feel like. So, and I know that, like, paranormal experiences don't match religious experiences fully. I mean, most people don't perform rituals to, like, I don't know. Like, it's not something people usually devote to. And I understand that there's a difference, but I think it would be a really cool comparison. So, I'm excited to do that. It just means I gotta read. But that's fine. And then, what else do I need to be doing? I think that's pretty much all I need to do. I need to read something for one of my philosophy classes. I don't remember what, but I'm sure I have something to do there. And then, aside from all that, the next book that I've picked up to just be reading for fun, not like any of my 4 school books, is a book I started reading before and never finished. Not that I got super far into it, but the next book that I want to start reading is Moby Dick. I am only like 16 pages into it so far. I've actually read more of that book before. I think I don't remember how far I got into it, but right now I'm just kind of like remembering the story. So I'm excited. I really want to finish that book this year. It's one of my main goals because I think I've read other things by Herman Melville, and I really like him as an author, from what I know at least. And I think I'll really enjoy the story. I've enjoyed everything I've read of it so far. But yeah, so that's the plan at the moment. I just want to give an update because I think I kind of just didn't like have a conclusion. I got busy, you know, and I did maybe spend an entire day like playing The Sims instead of reading or doing any homework. So gotta make up for that now. But yeah, the plan for today: get all of my academic shit done, get myself together again, start the paranormal hopefully, and get further into Moby Dick. So that's the plan. I also have a philosophy club meeting tonight, so I've never been. I'm afraid to go, to be honest, but we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna try and go. I need to experience things. I can't just sit in my room all the time, as much as I'd like to. So yeah, that's what's going on. I'm gonna stop recording because I've been rambling for like 14 minutes now. I don't want to make this a super long video, so I will check in with you hopefully once I've done most of my homework. So hey, so it is the next day. I had a lot of homework to do last night, so I just did that. I didn't really have much time to read, so I didn't actually end up reading like at all. I was just really tired and wanted to go to bed after I finished my homework. So anyway, I forgot to mention, before I read the graphic novel, The Prince and the Dressmaker, I actually read, Aristotle and Dante Discovered the Secrets to the Universe. I don't still have it with me because I read it and my mom was up here, so I just had her take it back with her. But I liked it okay. It's not my genre. It could have been better. I wasn't a super big fan, but I don't hate it at all. I can see why people like it. It's just not really my thing. So I don't remember how many stars I gave it. Some people might be offended because I know it's a lot of people's, like, not favorite book, but I know a lot of people really like that book. I gave it a shot. I did read the whole thing. I didn't DNF it, but it was okay. And then yeah, today I don't have a lot of homework. I'm going to a club meeting in a couple minutes, so just doing like a wrap-up video here, because I think I'm going to end this vlog tonight. So the next book I have decided to pick up is Moby Dick, so I definitely won't be finishing that today or tomorrow, so that's next on the list. And then after that, I am probably going to read another nonfiction book that is kind of related to one of the topics we're discussing in my religions class. So that's the plan. So I will see you guys next time, because I think I'm going to end this video here. Make sure to comment down below, say something, tell me if you've read any of the books I've talked about, if you're interested in any of them. Let me know what you thought of Aristotle and Dante, if you read that. I'm curious what other people think about that book, because I'm just not a fan of, like, super character-driven books. Like, I need there to be, like, an interesting plot. Well, I guess it's kind of... It's almost kind of rude to say some of that wasn't interesting, because a lot did happen, but I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I hope you join me again for my next video. Don't know what it'll be, when it will be, but you know, at least I'm trying. See you guys later.